This is going to be a long video. It needs to be. Make sure you watch until the end. It's that important. Buying a used car can be an exciting venture, offering an opportunity to find a reliable vehicle at a more affordable price. However, it also requires careful consideration to ensure it's a wise investment. If you're thinking about buying a used car, boy, I got some good news for you. I made the most comprehensive inspection checklist you'll ever need to help you avoid some potential pitfalls. I'll show you my process, and to help you remember it, I made an acronym for it. Are you ready for this? It's called B.U.Y. Get it? Buy it because you're Anyways, it is an inspection process, and it stands for B for body, U for under your hood, Y for your wheels, tires, and brakes, the I is interior, and T for test drive, in that order. Most people don't realize the importance of a thorough inspection. Any car you buy is likely the second largest investment you'll make, if not the biggest. So why not take the time to ensure that you are spending your money right? Just to put things into perspective, think about the last time you saved up $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. How long did that take you? Probably longer than you even want to think about. If you are financing, it is even more important to ensure the quality of such a vehicle. This will help you avoid costly repairs while making car payments. And no, we will not review the financial aspect of buying a car in this video. I only want to review the steps to inspect the car that you are buying. I recommend you follow this process even if you're buying from a reputable dealer. Right, so let's get right into it. Download my checklist. The link is included below. Document the vehicle information in the top section of the checklist. This will help you reference this information later, especially if you are inspecting multiple cars. Now, let me show you what you should bring to an inspection. Depending on the vehicle you're going to be inspecting, you may require multiple tools, but the basics should be a Phillips, a flathead screwdriver, a very bright flashlight, and if possible, bring in an OBD2 scanner. Right, so let's walk right through my checklist one step at a time, starting with body. First item that we have on the checklist is walk around. Does the vehicle sit straight and leveled? What does that mean? What you're looking for is either is the chassis bent, or do you have a problem with your suspension? So ensure you walk around the vehicle and that you see that the bottom of the vehicle is leveled, that the gaps on either side is proportionate. So if you're looking at the rear, look at this gap here on the wheel well. Is it proportionate to the other side? Same goes for the front. If you're looking at the gap here, do you have the same spacing on each side of the axle? These are the things that you're looking for when you're looking at, is the vehicle sitting straight and level? And if it's not, document. If it is, document that as well on the notes right here. Next, look for evidence of major damage. What does that mean? Chassis damage, panel gap. If you're looking at every panel on the car, is the gap consistent? And you can use your nails for this, or a piece of paper, a pen, whatever you have, just to make sure that you run your fingers denoting what the gap size is in between the panels. Look through all the panels. Do they match? Are they consistent? If they are not, it is very possible that you have an accident that has been corrected. This is what you want to look for in every place of the car, including the hood, the trunk, the doors, the seams down here. That is what that item means. Make sure that you look for major evidence of damage, okay? Check body for dents, nicks, signs of corrosion, and evidence of possible repair. Same goes here. Look, there's a dent right here. How do I know? Because I can see sideways. I'm looking at the reflection of the light of the sun, and I can see that everything is smooth except that little area there. So if I look sideways along the lines of the car, I can see that. Okay, document that. Look around. You're looking for signs of rust around the wheel wells, the arches, the rocker panels. You know, get underneath. Inspect every area of the car, one panel at a time. This is majorly important because some of these things can cost you a lot of money. For instance, look at this car. It's been damaged right here. So this door panel has been hit, as well as the rocker panel right here. This is a major expense. This could easily cost you $800-900 to $1,000 to repair this section right here. Why? Because you're talking about 3 different sections that have to be blended in to repair that. So it's crucial to find these kinds of things. Next, badges, emblems, moldings, stickers. Go around the car and make sure that you document the condition of these emblems and badges and stickers, right? Look at the wheels right here. These wheel center caps are completely worn out, faded, doesn't even have the blue and white colors anymore. Document that, because this is a very cheap replacement item, but however, these things piled up when you document all of them and put them all together. You could be talking about hundreds of dollars for all of them. Next, ID plaques, door jambs. What does that mean? That means go into the door jambs and inspect all the tags the vehicles have in the door jambs. Make sure that they are consistent with what you see in the information of the car, etc. Make sure that you go around, including the engine bay, and document what your findings are. Do they match? Is there any damage to them? Anything specific that may throw you off? Be curious about everything that you're doing this day. Next, glass condition. What does it have? The matching IDs in the windshield? Is the windshield cracked, etc. Right? So what we're looking for is we want to inspect the ID tags in the windows themselves, all the windows. Is the numbers here matching? Does it match all around? If it does, that means these windows have not been replaced. That shows care. It shows that the vehicle has not been through potentially a damage or a break-in, things like that. Those inconsistencies can spark conversation with the owner so that they can tell you, what do you know about this? These windows don't match. Why not? Next, check under the body for frame damage and corrosion. What are we looking for? Exactly that. We're looking for signs of somebody running over a sidewalk, a big pothole, a manhole cover that was too high and hit the bottom of the car. We're looking for rust damage or signs of rust. That's what we're looking for. In a car like this, it may be a little bit more difficult, but what you want to do is grab your flashlight and look under the car everywhere you can, as much as possible. If the car is too low, try to get the car up on the curb, into a driveway where you can actually create a gap between the floor and the car to give you more room to inspect these things. If you are able to bring a small jack with you, bring it. Make sure that you lift the car up and just check it out, right? Next, all locks and release mechanisms work. What does that mean? Exactly what I'm saying. Go through every door, inside and out, the trunk, the hood, and make sure that everything works as designed. Open them one at a time, get inside, and do the same thing. Next, grill, roof rack, etc. All work correct and properly attached. What does that mean? Exactly that. Look at the roof racks. If the vehicle is equipped with them, make sure that it matches, that if it has a key, that you have the key for it. The grills, make sure that you inspect the grills and that they're not broken, damaged, fallen off, etc. If there's any other accessories attached to the car, such as spoilers or ground effects, things of that nature, make sure that they're all properly attached. If not, document that and discuss it with the current seller. Now we're gonna go to the next section, under the hood. Let's pop the hood. This is before you're even starting the engine. You wanna make sure that you check things out before. Let me pop the hood here. And I also have my flashlight with me at this point everywhere I go. So the first item, does the hood open and close properly? Is the frame straight? And is there signs of any body work? That's what we're looking for here basically. So before looking at that, again, that ties into the previous section, looking at signs for body work, damage, things like that. This looks all pretty good. Then I open the hood and I'm looking for the same in here. I want to see, are things looking pretty straight? Are there any inconsistencies from one side to the next? Am I seeing damage in these areas, the radiator support, anywhere in here? be cautious, look around, take your time. This whole process is going to take you at least an hour or two. Give yourself enough time to make sure that you look at everything. Look around the wheel wells. Am I missing anything? Does anything look out of place? That's what you're looking for here. Is it closing and opening properly? Look at the badges in here as well to ensure that this is the original hood. If it's not, what happened? Why was it replaced? If you are inspecting an EV vehicle, obviously you're not going to have the engine, and most likely you won't be able to see much. There's a lot less components in an electric vehicle than there is in an internal combustion engine car. So I always recommend that people get a pre-purchase inspection. It's going to be ideal for electric vehicles because they are more electronic. They require computers to check certain things, especially the battery packs are hidden under the car, and it's just much more complicated. In those instances, I recommend that you check everything else that I'm highlighting here, but when it comes to the electric motors and the battery packs, leave that to the professionals and have that professional pre-purchase inspection done. Next, was the engine bay recently washed? If everything looks freshly washed and detailed, there's potential for the current seller trying to hide or not disclose certain leaks. So be cautious of that. Was it just recently washed, and why? Next, are there any maintenance stickers? What are they for? So look around the vehicle engine bay and look for maintenance stickers. Why? This gives you detailed information about the maintenance on the vehicle, the timing chain or belt, oil, things like that. That will highlight what kinds of services have been done on the vehicle itself. So make sure to look for signs of that. Next, we're going to check the fluid levels. Look at all the different containers here that have fluid and inspect them to make sure that the levels are correct. Now be cautious with the coolant, right? If you started the engine and it's hot, you want to make sure that you let that sit for at least a couple of hours before you open that. But take a look around, open the oil cap, look in there, look for signs of mixture of different chemicals like coolant or oil, things like that. Look in your power steering and whatever other containers you may have in your engine bay. Next, does the oil cap have slush inside? So open it up and take a look around and see, come around and see if you have slush around this area here. That is a sign of damage in the engine where you can have condensation from the coolant, etc., building up on your oil cap. So make sure to take a look around at that. Next, we're looking for signs of leaks. So right here it says, do you see signs of leaks, oil, coolant, etc. from the engine or the transmission? So let's take a look around again. If the engine was recently power washed, why is that? Is it leaking? So make sure that you take a look around very cautiously. Use your flashlight. Point in every direction possible, right? Take your flashlight out. Like, for instance, I want to highlight this right here. There's oil accumulation here, which can be normal, right? Over time, this car has over 100,000 miles, but why is this happening? Is it fresh? Do you see excess, or is it evenly spread, right? This can just be normal. Get under the car and do the same. Look underneath with your flashlight. Am I seeing leaks? If the car has a cover, make sure that you create enough space to look in there and see if you can identify any leaks in that area. Next, do you see any damaged, worn out, or new parts? Take note of what they are. For instance, in this car, we can see right up here, brand new alternator. Good, that's a sign of maintenance. We can discuss that with the current owner. Why was it changed? When was it changed, etc. Look at your belts. Look at all the different areas in the car that may need maintenance. Talk about the engine oil. Talk about the air filter. All these different things. Look at the radiator, right? When was the last changed? All these different things, and document what you're seeing and have a conversation with the owner about the vehicle's maintenance. Right, so all these things are to be done before running the engine. Now we're gonna start the engine, let it run, let it warm up, and then after starting and running the engine, then we're going to look at the next list of items. So the first one is, Did the engine start without issue? Does it idle normal? Are there any weird noises? Okay, so you're looking for ticking noises. You're looking for irregularities of the engine running at idle. Is it vibrating? Is it hiccuping? Is it trying to shut off as it's running? Or is it running completely smooth and consistent throughout the operation? Give yourself time here as well. Let it run for 5-10 minutes and see if there's any changes in its behavior. Next, does the engine emit an odor? Look around. Smell. Do you feel burning oil? Do you feel coolant? Do you smell something coming out of the engine bay? That's what we're looking for here. Next, do the exhaust pipes emit blue or black smoke or white smoke? Make sure that the car is running, that you are taking a look from a cold start. Is there any kind of smoke coming out of the tailpipe? Then after your test drive, I want you to come back into the engine bay. And what do we have here? The first one is, do you see any smoke or smell of burning? Same thing again. Repeat the process, but after the test drive. Next, does the oil cap have slush on the inside? Review that again and document your findings. Next, check the coolant reservoir level. Is it the same? Right? So if you have a clear coolant reservoir, that you can inspect that, see if the level is still the same. If you don't have a way to check that, do not open this after running the engine. It'll blow up in your face and potentially cause very severe burns. Next, we're going to check the battery for corrosion on the terminals, but the BMWs specifically have the batteries located in the back. So we're going to open this up here. Find the location of where the battery is for whatever car you're looking at. But here what we're going to do is use our flashlight again, and we're looking for corrosion on the terminals, right? This one looks very clean because it's my car and I maintain my cars. Moving right along now to the Y, your wheels, brakes, and tires. So the first item that we have here, are the wheels OEM? Are they original? And do they all match? Basically go around the car, make sure that they're all matching, and note the condition of the wheels as well as the tires. Next, any visible damage or missing parts. For example, missing lug nuts, center caps, etc. Is there any wheel locks, any lug nuts missing, any bolts? Some cars have bolts, such as BMWs, Mercedes, and Porsches. Just go around the car again, inspect all 4 of them, and note your finding. Next, check brake pads and calipers if possible. Depending on your wheels, you may be able to get close enough to be able to inspect the brake pads and the calipers if possible. How do you do that? Just simply get close behind the wheel and look in there. Use your flashlight again to see if there is any marks on the rotors. If you can see how much material is left on the brake pads. Another thing that you can do is also use your phone, set it to video, and put the phone camera in there, and then you'll be able to see the brake pads using your phone. That's one option as well. Next, check the rubber and hard brake lines if possible. Any cracks, rust, missing parts. What you can do here is, for instance, if you can access those from underneath the car or the side, the front, what you can do is turn the wheel all the way one way and inspect that area. See if you can get to the brake lines. Go the other way around and inspect that way. If you're doing like a pickup or a minivan, sometimes you'll be able to see those much better. If you're doing like a pickup, like an F-150 or something like that, you can see the brake lines running through the subframe. Inspect those because they tend to get corroded from all the exposure to salt and the environment. So make sure you take a look at that. Next, do all 4 tires match? This is important because it is a sign of good, proper maintenance. If we take a look at the tires here, we can see that the front and the back both match, front and back. So if not all 4 tires match, do they match per axle? That's an important thing as well, because if somebody just bought one mismatched tire on just one side of the axle, meaning the rear or the front, that it's improper maintenance. You don't want to have mismatched tires. Next, does the steering wheel align with the tires? So if you sit inside and you set your steering wheel straight, are the tires lined up correctly or not? You'll also be able to see that when you go on your test drive. Next, turn the steering wheel all the way left and then all the way to the right to check the tire condition on the inside. This is going to be important because it's going to give you a sense of wear. The tire can look perfectly fine on the outside. However, it's possible if the car is not properly aligned that the wear on the inside is going to be completely different. So turn the wheel all the way around to make sure you inspect that. You can also do it like this by just simply going in here and looking at your tire with the flashlight. Next, how is the tread wear? So same thing here. Look at the tire, make sure that it is even throughout, and how much do you have left? Because if not, you have to take that into the consideration. You may be buying tires right away. Are there any cracks on the tires? This is important because if the tires are too old, you will start to see cracks inside the treads or even by the walls, and that's a safety concern. You want to make sure you address those immediately. Are the tires properly inflated and evenly worn? That's another good sign of maintenance, because if you have tires that are completely unevenly worn, what does that mean? If the car is rear-wheel drive, were they doing burnouts? If the car is front-wheel drive, do you have an alignment problem, etc.? You want to make sure that you check how even the wear is. Next, what's the manufacturing week and year of the tires? And let me show you how you check that. Each tire is stamped with the week and the year they were manufactured. If you go around the tire, you're going to see that there's a little area here where you have 4 numbers. In this case, you can see here it's kind of like an oval stamp, and it says 2518. That means that these tires were manufactured on the 25th week of 2018. And if we do the same for the tires up front, you'll be able to see here that these tires were manufactured in the first week of 2019. Next, check the camber toe angle. So again, when you're turning the wheel all the way around and inspecting the tire, if it's worn out more in one side or the other, that's an indication that you have an alignment problem that needs to be addressed. If your car is equipped with a spare tire, make sure that you check that spare tire. Check for the manufacturing date on that tire as well. It's possible that the car has never had that spare tire replaced. You don't want to be the one stuck with a flat tire, then put on your spare tire and the tire be deteriorated and blow up in the middle of the highway. That's a safety concern. So make sure you check that out, because you may need to replace that tire yourself. Look at all the equipment necessary, like your jack, emergency roadside tools. Is that all in there or is it missing? Are they functional? That's another thing. Make sure that they work properly. Next, we're gonna step inside and check the interior. So for the interior, the first item that we have is check all seats. Are there any cracks, rips, tears, missing pieces, stains? Is there a smell that you can sense? So go through, open all 4 doors and inspect every seat, front and back, and look for potential damage, anything replaced, missing, something doesn't add up, and take note of that. Next, do all adjustments work properly? Can you move the seat all the way front and back? Again, same thing. So you go through each seat that is adjustable and use all of the controls in the seat, all the way front, all the way back. Take your time. Make sure that you work through every item, because again, you want to make sure that you state the operational condition of everything with the owner. Many times they don't even know themselves that something is not working. So it's your job to make sure that you go through every feature. If you don't know how one of the features works, discuss that with the current seller. They'll tell you how it works. And if they don't, then try to figure out with them. Check the carpet for stains, tears, and any other damage or smell. Especially take the floor mats out and look under the floor mats to see what you discover. Note the condition of the floor mat themselves. Do they need to be replaced soon, or are they relatively new, etc. Next, check the headliner. Is it sagging? Is there any damage? By looking up, you'll be able to notice the condition of your headliner. Are there any tears? Is it dirty? Does it need to be cleaned? Does it need to be replaced, etc. Next, check the dashboard for cracks. Look around every corner and document your findings. You may find a couple of cracks on the dashboard, especially if it's a leather wrapped dashboard. That can be an expensive repair. So make sure that you look around all the way around. Sometimes you have, tears inside here where the door meets the dashboard. Sometimes you have worn areas that have lost their color. Make sure that you look around all the way at the bottom, right around the center console, the entire dash, and document what you find. Next, we're going to look at the vehicle options. Check every option on the vehicle. Reason being that one simple option that you do not check is going to end up being the one that's really expensive. So get yourself situated, turn your accessory on, turn your ignition on, or start the car, whatever you want, and then go through every single option in the car, right? Make sure that the radio works properly. If you have navigation, go through all the different menus. Take your time, be curious. Check every single option, because a lot of times these features can be quite expensive to repair if even one of the features doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? That could potentially be a sign of wear, and for all you know, you could be the one having to replace the entire unit because it's already worn out and become defective. So check your seat warmers, check your climate controls, make sure that everything is working properly, cruise control, connect your Bluetooth connectivity, power windows, right? Make sure that your windows are working properly. The sunroof, sometimes sunroofs are not used very frequently, and what happens is that when you do go try and use it, something breaks. Next, key or keyless entry systems. Do they work as designed? Make sure that you step out of the vehicle, you close, you lock, you unlock it. Use all the features available on your keyless entry system to ensure proper function. Next, do all the windows roll up and down as designed? Make sure that you take every window and you roll them up and you roll them down. If they have the automatic roll up and down feature, try to use those to ensure that you have full operation of the system. Next, is the glass okay on the windows? Any window tint? If so, does it have bubbles? Is it legal? You may encounter an issue if your tint is illegal. Are you going to be the one wanting to deal with the cops and pay the fine? Probably not. Next, any curtains, shades, sun visors, do they all work? Some cars are equipped with shades in the back or electronic curtains that cover up the rear windows. Make sure that those are all working. Do the door locks operate as designed? So again, make sure that you go through your car and lock and unlock all doors, both through each door or a centralized system such as the one in this car. You can also, like I said, use your key fob to lock and unlock the vehicle. Next, turn ignition to on position. Now, whether you have a keyless system or a car with a key, you're gonna have multiple stages to your electronics. The first one is your accessories, which usually allows you to play your radio, and then the second would be your ignition, which allows you to play or utilize all the other electronics without having to start the car. So the first one right here, and then the second one is your ignition. Take a look at all the lights. Do all the lights come up on the dash? You want to make sure that you inspect that to see if sometimes what has happened is some people unfortunately take some of the light bulbs out to not show faults on a car. So potentially, if you have a check engine light and you can't solve it, it's too expensive. There have been people that go into your dash, take it apart, remove that light bulb, and now voila, you don't have a check engine light that you can visibly see. But if you do your ignition, you should see all the lights light up and then start to go away one at a time. So then turn the car on and make sure that you note what lights remain on. Your check engine light, airbags, things like that should go away. The only thing that you should be able to see is if you have your parking brake engaged, you should be able to see that. If you don't have your seatbelt on, you should be able to see that. That kind of warning lights is what you're looking to see. If your check engine light remains on after you turn the car on, that's a signal of a problem. We'll get to that in a second. So at this time, now we have the vehicle on. Here's the time where you need to find your OBD2 port and plug in that OBD2 scanner if you have one, right? And this car is actually located right under here. And what we want to do is check for codes. Just follow whatever steps are the normal steps on your OBD2 scanner to check for codes. And while we have the car turned on, we want to check all the turn signals, the headlights, hazard lights, wipers, washers, indicators, etc. Make sure that you go through each one of them and ensure that you have full operation of your turn signals, your hazard lights, all of your electronics outside the car. Next, does the steering wheel adjust? If that's the case, run through it. This one is manually adjustable, so make sure that you go through the steps to adjust the steering wheel, okay, to ensure proper operation. Oops, there we go. To ensure proper operation of that feature. Does the horn work? Great. Is the airbag original? Are there any cracks, etc.? Make sure that you inspect that and every airbag the car is equipped with. This one is equipped with curtain airbags and both front passenger airbags and side airbags. As I mentioned before, check the radio, check navigation, the backup cameras if it's equipped with it, and parking sensors. Very important. Does the AC work? Make sure that, depending on the temperature, make sure that you operate your heat system and your AC system. A way to check if your AC system is working, and it is winter outside, make sure that you have the current seller. Turn the AC system on while you have the hood open and you're looking at the AC compressor just to see that the clutch is engaging out there and that it's making a noise as if it is working. If it's not, then that means something electronical with your system is broken, or it doesn't have enough gas because of a leak. So that's a good telltale sign that there's an issue with your AC system. Same thing with your heat. Make sure that you turn the dials and that you feel the difference in the system, in the temperature, as the system works to meet that temperature that you've requested. Next, ensure safety equipment works. What is this? This is seat belts, hazard lights, e-brake, etc. The way to check your parking system is, so engage, drive, or reverse, whichever you want. Let go of the brake a little bit at a time and see if the car is moving or not. And then you can always just tap it on the gas a little bit to see if there is much movement there as well. That's one way to check the parking system. And then seat belts, checking the seat belts. Normal operation should be that if I pull on this seat belt nice and slow, it should allow me to pull it all the way through. So pull it all the way out to see the tension. You should feel tension on the belts themselves as you pull it all the way out. And then if you pull quick, it should lock up. Okay, that is normal operation of your seat belts. Next, aftermarket equipment. Was it properly installed? And is it functional? Go through it. If there's a backup camera that is aftermarket, if there's a radio or a navigation system or lights, make sure you go through that, because if it was improperly installed, you could have yourself an electrical fire on your hands. So be very careful and make sure that you test out any aftermarket equipment. Next, ensure all moving parts work, such as the glove compartment. Make sure that everything works as designed. Cup holders here, as you can see, this one doesn't work. Your ashtray or your coin tray, your center console lid, make sure that everything is working as designed. If something doesn't work, Take note of that. Next, ensure that the driving equipment is secure, such as the gas, brake pedal, shift knob, steering wheel. Okay, you want to make sure that you don't have a whole lot of play on these things, right? You want to make sure that the steering wheel feels tight and secure. Same with your brake pedal and your gas pedal, etc. Are there any other options? Okay, do you have front windshield defrosters? Do you have adjustable suspension? Do you have adjustable spoilers? All kinds of different features. Whatever the features are for that one car that you're looking, make sure that they all operate properly. All right, and now for the last part of the inspection, the test drive. My favorite part. And so I've broken this down into 3 main sections to help you remember it. The first one is the stationary test. Second is the city driving test. And third is the highway driving test. First, ensure that all the controls are reachable within the car. Adjust the mirrors, everything. I want you to be safe first. And then second of all, make sure that you give yourself enough time, at least 10 to 20 minutes to perform the drive test. Different time, different speeds, different conditions will yield different sounds, different issues will be revealed. So make sure you give yourself enough time. Now, performing the city test, make sure that you do U-turns both ways. This will reveal issues with your suspension, your CV axles, etc. Make sure that you turn the wheel lock to lock and make a complete U-turn in both directions. While doing this, do you hear any noises? Does it turn smoothly? These are all the things that you're looking for when performing this test. Also, make sure that you drive the vehicle in reverse. Do you hear any unusual noises? Does the car engage normally, and does it move properly? Does the vehicle drive well under normal acceleration? So if you're just cruising down the parking lot, is it moving smoothly, or is it making any noises? Is the transmission hesitating? Things like that. Make sure that you simulate traffic conditions like stop and go, going over speed bumps, going over slow city bumps, etc. While driving in city mode, is the vehicle shifting smoothly and properly, or is it jerking from gear to gear? These are the things that you're looking for when you're driving at slow speeds. If the car is equipped with a manual transmission, is the clutch engaging properly? What about braking? Is it easy to stop the car? Is the pedal firm or is it spongy? Is the car pulling under braking to the left or to the right? This can indicate a problem with your alignment or your braking system. Make sure to test that out properly. If your car is equipped with safety features such as pedestrian safety equipment, is it working properly? Can it detect obstacles along the way? And now for the highway driving test, I want you to go 55 miles or above within the speed limit to see, do you feel any shakiness? Do you feel any pulling? Any noises coming from the car at these higher speeds? Do you feel vibrations coming through the steering wheel, the seat, or the entire car? And I also want you to simulate merging onto the highway. So step on it quite a bit, as much as you feel comfortable, and to engage that hard shift in the transmission and increase the RPMs on the engine to see how the car operates under harsh conditions. This will highlight any issues with your ignition system, your fuel system, the transmission, things of that nature. And while you're doing this, take note, is the transmission engaging quickly and smoothly, or is it jerking and is it a harsh engagement? Again, if it is a manual transmission, is the clutch operating normally? Are you able to engage the gears smoothly, or is there any grinding happening when you try to engage the gears? Also, while you're doing the highway test, I want you to engage the cruise control. Make sure that you set the speed and increase it and decrease it. Just make sure that the system is operating adequately. If the car you're looking into is equipped with safety equipment such as lane departure or blind spot monitoring, make sure that you try those out. See if they are functioning properly as well. Also, I want you to try to simulate hard braking if you have an open area where you have no traffic in front or behind you, to simulate a hard braking scenario. It doesn't mean that you have to, cause an accident, but I want you to just simulate having to do a hard stop. While you're doing this hard stop, take note, is the car pulling? Same with city driving. Are there any noises? Is there any slippage? Is the ABS system engaging? Take note of all these different things. And lastly, I have a notes section here in the checklist where I want you to document how you feel about the car and any important comments you want to write down to remember in the future. And also at the very bottom, I have a rating from a 1 to 5 star. And just select how you feel about this particular car that you just checked out. A 5 star, this is the one. 4 stars will be top 5. 3 stars, I'll think about it. 2 stars, needs work, and 1 star, there's no way. So make sure you document that as you compare to other vehicles. Thanks everybody for watching. If you find this video helpful and informative, make sure that you give it a like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. See you in the next one.